Hey everybody, it's Rory from ANSgear. We're going to take a look at a rear velocity adjuster for a 98 Custom. So if you have a Model 98, 98 Custom, 98 Custom Pro, Platinum Series, any of the newer ones, and you want to be able to potentially adjust the velocity through the back of the gun by controlling mainspring pressure rather than doing it through the front. Makes it a little bit easier. You don't have to worry about having an Allen key and you can adjust it. Check one of these out. This is a rear velocity adjuster. There's a bunch of different brands on the website, so you can go through and check out the different styles or different brands. But we'll go ahead and open one of these guns up and we'll throw it in there so you can see how it works inside there and what it's actually doing. So this 98 Custom here, this is a Platinum Series non-ACT. I use this one here for demo purposes because I can split the back half of the gun apart without having to worry about the front half. So we're going to go ahead and open up the back half. I have already loosened up the screws that are going to hold the back half together. We're going to go ahead and pry it open and install the rear velocity adjuster. As always, when working with 98s or A5s or any of the Tippmann guns, they are prone to exploding parts out of them if you are not careful when opening them up. So take your time, do it slow, and you'll save yourself some problems. So we're going to open this one up here, and we're going to kind of just walk it back and forth on all sides, making sure that everything is coming out. When we get to the point where we think we can get the top off, I always kind of hold on to things that might move and keep them from sliding out of position. All right, so there's our top half. It comes off there. You can see the trigger guard came out with it. Sometimes the trigger guard will actually stay down there. Doesn't really matter. You're going to put it back anyway. We've got a couple things we want to look at before we start taking anything out. We want to make sure that our sear spring is in the right position, our trigger spring is in the right position, and that we haven't lost any of these 5 pins. They're not stuck in the other side. They didn't fall out. Everything's still in the right spot. Everything looks good, so we're going to take the cap off the back. Move this O-ring real quick. So to get the cap out, I want to hold on to the hammer right here so that when I lift the cap up, it doesn't move the hammer up and then the power tube moves out of position and it all gets crazy. So we're going to hold on to the hammer, lift up on the cap, let the spring uncompress, and then we can pull everything out. Once we have it out, we're going to take the cap and set it to the side. We've got our drive nail and our spring. We're going to take the spring and we're going to feed it into the hammer. Just like that. I find it easier to do it that way than trying to put it in the back of this thing and then holding on to everything and putting it through there. The spring goes through, the nail goes inside of it, and the spring goes through the middle of this O-ring. Now this O-ring doesn't sit in any particular place. There's no groove for it to go in. It acts as a buffer or a bumper between the hammer and whatever happens to be at the back. So when this hammer comes slamming backwards, this will sit in the way and work as a cushion in there. So it just kind of floats around inside here. It has to go around the spring though. So we'll go ahead and take that, put it in there, make sure this is around it, feed our drive nail into the velocity adjuster, compress our adjuster down, drop it into a spot right there. Again, before we start to reassemble, make sure everything is in the right spot. Our pins are in the right spot. Our springs are in the right spot. Our O-ring is around our drive spring, our main spring. When everything looks good, we can go ahead and put our trigger guard back on. Like that. And then we can go ahead and put our top half together. Now, if it doesn't just drop in as easy as that one did right there, and believe me, it won't always do it like that. Don't try to force it. Just lift it back off again, reset all your pieces, and then drop it down and make sure everything fits securely and snugly in place. So we'll just do a basic tightening of this. Everything's tight. Now we've got our velocity adjuster on the back. We can turn this in and out. What this is going to do is it's going to compress the main spring or let the spring decompress. By driving the spring harder or compressing the spring down, you're going to drive the hammer harder into the valve, hitting the valve harder, letting more air out, and shooting harder. By backing this up, making it the spring longer or less compressed, you're going to drive the hammer slower, hitting the valve lighter, less air, lower velocity. Now you can still use your main velocity adjuster to control velocity. So you can set this for a rough velocity and then fine tune it with your velocity adjuster. It just makes it a little bit easier. So if you're trying to get the most out of your gun or make it maybe easier to set your gun up, check out the rear velocity adjusters. They're available for the 98 Custom or any style that uses a plug on the back like that. You can order them through the website. There's a lot of different brands, so go ahead and check them out and order yours now through ANSgear.com.